If time travel was a real thing, we can't even imagine what human beings could do. We could change the course of our entire existence, from changing his story to saving countless lives. But what if it's real and we just don't know it yet? Join us as we talk about 10 shots that show time travel is possible. The Swiss ring is number 10. Too many secrets have been uncovered by excavations for people to be able to solve them all. The next mystery is one that makes people wonder if time travel is real. Several news sources reported in 2008 that a historical team had discovered a Swiss ring watch that looked modern but was actually nearly 400 years old and had been sealed in a tomb. The tomb goes back to China's Ming Dynasty. The strange thing happened when the team cleaned the dirt off of one of the graves before opening it. A rock fell to the ground and made a metallic sound when it hit the ground. After looking at it more, they realized it was a watch about the size of a ring and about 2 millimeters thick. At 10:06, the clock's time hands stopped moving. On the back of the Swiss ring, the word Swiss or Switzerland was written in English. Here's a mystery though. Switzerland began in 1848, but the tomb was there from 1368 to 1644. So how can you explain where this ring came from, unless you can travel through time? Number 9. The 1917 surfer that can go back in time. The next photo was taken in Canada more than 100 years ago. It shows a group of people sitting on the edge of a rock. But the picture stands out for a strange reason. The man in the center looks like he just stepped out of the 1900s. The man is thought to have been from the future based on his clothes, which doesn't match those of the other people around him. Lester A. Peterson's 1974 book, The Great Cape Scott Story, which tells the history of the Canadian area, is where the photo was first discovered. Most people now call this man the Surfer Man because he seems to be wearing a loose t-shirt and shorts and has a modern hairstyle that looks like it was blown by the wind. People still wonder if he was just more stylish than everyone else or if he was a time traveler. That's still a mystery to this day. The Legend of Victor Goddard is the 8th book. Victor Goddard served England in both World Wars as a member of the Royal Air Force. An air mechanic now known as Freddie Jackson died from his injuries after walking into a spinning propeller while leading a squadron during World War I. But everyone will be shocked by what happened on the day of his funeral. The team crowded together to take a picture, but when Victor Goddard looked at it later, he noticed a strange-looking man in the front row. It was Freddie Jackson. This was the first thing Goddard saw that shocked him. A few years later, he was sent to the Scottish town of Drem to check out an old airfield that had been closed down. When he got there, he saw that it was just a bunch of unfinished wrecks. Later, as he was walking back to the plane, heavy rain stopped him, so he went back to Drem to wait it out. But by the time he got to the airfield, the rain had stopped and the sun was shining brightly. The same airfield had been fixed up and was now being used. Goddard was shocked to see that his plane too was painted yellow. When he got back to everyone, he told them that he had seen something. No one believed him though. In 1939, almost 4 years later, the Drem was fixed and put back into service. At the same time, all RAF planes were painted bright yellow. So did Goddard actually time travel into the future, or was it just a vision? The LHC is number 7. The Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, is the most powerful particle collider in the world. It is made of a 27-kilometer ring of superconducting magnets and is one of the most complex pieces of machinery ever made by man. It is 500 feet below the surface and has the most powerful atom smasher in the world. From what it looks like, this amazing piece of technology is hard to understand. And do you want to know what's the best thing about it? Scientists say it can create a black hole and might even let us travel through time. How then? The hard-to-find Higgs boson is one of the main goals of this collider. This is the God particle that scientists think gives other particles their mass. And if the collider succeeds in making the Higgs boson, it will also create a second particle called the Higgs singlet, according to scientists. It is believed that these singlets can enter the 5th dimension, where they will move forward or backward in time and resurface in the future or the past, allowing for time travel. Some people think that the event has already happened and that everyone is just being kept in the dark about it. Number 6. Can Greta Thunberg go back in time? Greta Thunberg has been in the news for over a year, and she is one of the most well-known climate fighters of our time. We thought so, anyway. Some people say they have found photos that show Greta Thunberg is from the future. If this is true, it would explain why she is so passionate about saving the environment. She might have seen the world falling apart and come back to warn us. No matter what though, the girl in the photos does look a lot like Greta. The pictures are in black and white and show a girl with Greta's face and hair. And after everything Greta has gone through and made, I wouldn't be surprised if she was a magical being from the future. It would make sense, to be honest. 5. Going back in time during the Cold War. The next photo shows something that happened during the Cold War that is very strange. For a number of years now, Andrew Basiago, a lawyer from the United States, has been attempting to decipher the mystery surrounding the Pegasus project. In order to defeat Russia in the war, the United States undertook a top-secret project to control the space-time fabric. Even stranger, Basiago says he was sent back in time to 1863 so he could hear Abraham Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address. His father worked on the project until 1968, when it was stopped. Reports say that U.S. experts tried to use Einstein's theory of relativity and wormholes to create time jumps. But wait, there's more good news. The boy in the center, looking to his right, is a lawyer called Basiago, who traveled back in time from the 1970s, according to a photo that recently surfaced on the internet. Which successful and well-known lawyer would put his job in jeopardy by claiming some strange thing to be true, despite how strange it may sound now? Whether this story is true or false, one thing is certain: it's a great story. The fourth one is the mystery caught on TV. At family parties, we've all watched Charlie Chaplin's movies for a quick laugh. Charlie Chaplin sure knew how to make people lose their bearings, whether he was working in a workshop or running around in a show. But every once in a while, we see something on TV that gives us the chills. And one such scene in Charlie Chaplin got everyone's attention, especially now in the future. In the photo of the scene, you can see a horse that has been painted to look like a zebra, and behind it, it looks like a woman is going somewhere important. But if you look closer, you can see that the woman is holding something that looks like a smartphone. This is shocking because there were no computers back when Charlie Chaplin's movies were made. So could it be that the woman had time travel back to when the scene was being shot because she wanted to be in it? We live in a strange world, so it's not impossible that something like this could happen. John Titor, the time traveler, is number 3. In late 2000, John Titor joined the group at the Time Travel Institute, claiming to be a soldier sent from the year 2036, which would one day be the day that a computer bug would wipe out the entire world from existence. He said that his job was to travel back in time to 1975 and steal the IBM 5100 computer. This computer, he said, would have all the important knowledge that would be required to fight the virus in the future. Over the next few months, he answered questions from users about everything, including possible and real futures. Along with overly complicated algorithms and pictures of his real-time travel machine, he also gave many technical details about how time travel worked. And what could be a better proof of the existence of a time machine than the plans for it? In 2001, he finally said goodbye for good. He went home and was never seen or heard from again. People think that he went back to his own reality when he got tired of being in ours, and now he's a big deal on the internet with a lot of fans, and his predictions and ideas are still studied every day. Now, I don't know about you, but I would have loved to meet this Titor guy and talk to him. The man in the painting, number 2. At number 2 is this painting from the 1930s. The longer you look at it, the more you can see. At first glance, it looks like a medieval painting of kidnappers and the people they are holding. And it looks like there are both Europeans and Indians in the picture. Even though it looks like a normal painting, there is one strange thing about it. You can't forget it once you've seen it. An Indian holding what looks like a smartphone is painted in the center right. The way he's holding it looks like how people hold their phones these days. I can't help but wonder what on that phone was so interesting to this man. Was it maybe the crash of the stock market? Who can really say what will happen? But a thing like this makes one wonder how something painted in the 1930s could be connected to a smartphone, which was first made by IBM in 1992. All the questions seem to lead to the same answer, which has a lot to do with moving through time. The first one is the monkey astronaut. Now, I've already talked about one work. The next one is similar, but it's a step further from a laptop. In this next piece of art, a monkey is wearing a spacesuit. Since humans have been sending monkeys to the moon long before they started sending people there, a space monkey is not unusual. But if you know what comes next, you might have to think too much about the whole thing. This figure of a monkey was made between the 15th and 17th centuries and is in front of the church building. How could a monkey be wearing a spacesuit if its sculptors didn't know that space existed outside of our world at the time? And back then, there was no idea of space. That didn't start until the 1900s. What is it? So many people think it might be time travel. It couldn't be explained by anything else. In order to educate the sculptors about space research and the monkey's past, someone from the future must have come back in time. We see many proofs of the existence of time travel, some of which are still unknown. But we could find out the truth about it all any day now, as many people have done before.